Welcome, welcome. Now, as I sit here a lot of times and I wonder how to bring in the show, this is such a different type of show that there's really no way to bring it in like laughing and having a good time and expecting people to take you serious with this topic. So I'm just going to say we here. And today I have a special guest, LB, a good friend of mine.
How y'all doing?
Introduce yourself, sir. How you want to, what you want to tell them? Cameras on you.
Well, I just kind of want to bring a little bit of my perspective, my ideas, what I think the crack years, how it affected us. And by the way, I'm LB, and Pertis go way back, like he said. And we're just here to have a conversation and to bring awareness to topic that seems like it may be old, but still very necessary.
Definitely.
So
it's definitely a necessary conversation that we need to have and definitely address. I need to, excuse me, work on my camera working. But while we doing that, tell me something, man. Everybody had a person in their family who was in some form or fashion dealing with the crack, basically. Everybody had somebody in the family. So did you have a experience you're willing to talk about? Because I asked that because, man, every time someone and I get to talking about it, they will change that subject so fast. I've seen it happen like, bam, that subject gone. And we'll end up starting to talk about something else. So you and I, we were talking outside, but are you able to talk about it while we're inside just as comfortably, you know?
Yeah.
What's your experience?
I'm trying to, honestly, I've been around Black people all my life. And so we're talking about family members and directly like auntie or uncle or mom or dad or grandmother or anybody like that. No.
Yeah.
Honestly. But maybe cousin or something like that. Yes, I've had a cousin.
Gotcha.
Maybe a neighbor. You know, those people tend to be extended family members because you're around them a lot or what have you. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I definitely have had a family member or someone in close proximity to me that was on drugs, crack in particular.
Now, the reason I kind of started this, particular
How about
show.
You? How about you?
Oh, yeah. Know a lot of people,
family
who didn't know somebody. That's the thing. It's one of those things we don't talk about.
How close?
It's like, it's so bad that no therapy session I've been to, unless I'm in AANA meeting or something, you don't hear about the horrors of those years. So when I say the horrors of those years, man, I'm talking about something way worse. Like I said, we're going to quit skipping around this conversation and we're going to get into it because everybody knows about it, knows where I'm headed, and we keep dodging it. And I think that's the biggest deal is because I see this as that this is what happened. Let me tell you. And I'm talking about, I done talked to some people today, man, and everybody I done talked to today. Again, I don't even think I introduced the show. This is the Crack Years. I'm your host, Pertis Williams, Dr. Williams, Gobsmack Visual Media. Like I said, this is a very serious topic. And I didn't even shave today where it's so new of a topic that it's like anytime I can get something done, I'm trying to get it done right now because this is a big deal. So it's kind of like this. I realized that we had forgot some history. We're everywhere else. But when we talk about where's grandmama house, everybody asking where's grandmama house, where's Big Papa, where Big Mama. We used to have family reunions. Everybody asking that, and I'm like, I started asking that question myself. Like, where is it? And what I found was something I didn't like. And now I understand more as to why we don't discuss it, and that is because the pain associated with it was so bad. It's like what happened to me when my father got killed across the street from me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I blocked it out. My brain went into a protection mode and it totally wiped that memory out. So it didn't wipe it out because guess what? It just put it in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So it affected everything about me without me knowing it. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's happened to everybody.
So you think that the crack years, which let's just put a time frame on it, or it's still going on, I guess, without a doubt. So, but what are we saying, the early 80s, or what are we saying?
I was thinking, like, man, I talked to my dad the other day and I was thinking like 83, maybe. But then I talked to this lady downstairs just a minute ago and she was like, she remembered when her cousin came from Chicago in 1979, 1980. And she was like, that was the first time she ever saw it. And she's like, she quit going over there. And I said, look at her proving my point right there. See, we keep talking about what happened to grandmama and granddaddy's house. We keep asking, I said, what happened to it? Damn it, she just said it. When those persons who were on drugs were at grandmama and granddaddy's house, there was eventually a group of the family decided, I don't want to go over there tonight. Grandmama, they and grandmama inviting everybody. But, eventually it's like, I don't want to go over there.
But so eventually they just lost interest, but couldn't they?
No, they didn't lose interest
in going over grandma's.
They didn't lose interest. They just didn't want to be bothered with the drug addicts anymore and the alcoholism. And, it had got too wild at grandmama's house because grandmama taking care. She ain't going to let, it's her,
everybody come.
Her son is the one on drugs.
Right. But if the family as a whole couldn't stay unified enough to say we're going to deal with the shenanigans.
Did it?
Enough to.
Did it?
Still have a family function.
Did it?
I think they tried. Still try. But now probably not near the magnitude. I don't know.
I like to think we tried. And I know what is it? I know we tried, but once the pattern of giving up started, it was like we was out. And for the family members who had like a lot of kids, and I'm just speaking from what I'm remembering now that we're doing this this show, and I'm not throwing salt at nobody, trying to talk about nobody's family.
Right.
We're not trying to put nobody down. I understand. That's why I'm doing this and putting it out there, because I'm gonna take the hit because nobody else will. Nobody wants to talk about this, so I'm gonna do it. I'll take the hit. So one of my aunts, married, he passed. That's how they've been together that long. 5 daughters. They were one of the first groups I remember that wasn't at grandmama and them house no more. You feel me? So as a father, I can see him saying, I ain't going over there with my daughters. They over there drinking, smoking, doing whatever. And these the crack years now. Because I remember I got pictures of all of us over here. But then all of a sudden things changed. And we wondering what happened. How come don't want to go to grandma's house no more? That's damn crack years. And we forgot. We blocked it out. Not saying that these things happened in my family.
Right.
In the immediate, however, everybody knows crack changed our sexual morality. When we were coming up, there were some things a woman wouldn't do. If some things you couldn't get a woman to do. We heard about it, but we ain't never seen it. You ain't putting that in my what? Not in my mouth. Am I lying?
No, I don't think you're lying. I think
So something happened on the way to heaven, brother. So what we're missing is what happened. It's like we don't want to address how did that happen, you know? So when did it become okay? Well, guess what? I got the answer. You tell me what you think. And this is not hard to hear. Again, there's a warning going across the bottom of the screen. This ain't gonna be easy to hear. What we forgot was that the drug dealer also had the prettiest girl in school. Or let's just say the prettiest girl. Drug dealer had her. So now, if the drug dealer got the prettiest girl and the drug dealer has the crack lady doing whatever for crack, and you know they'll do anything for the crack. Now the drug dealer goes home to his pretty, beautiful, the most beautifulest of girls, and now she has to compete with that. You know that his sexual morality was like he was like, I'm happy to be getting it. Now I got all this money.
I can get whoever I want.
Do whatever I want to. I cut you loose. And a lot of them girls ended up being on drugs. You feel me? So when we looking at that from a standpoint of let's be honest about what happened, you know, when we looking at this from a standpoint of let's be honest about what happened. Now, those same girls, the most beautifulest of the girls, dating the crack guy and doing these things. Now, what the young ladies who don't feel so confident in themselves, who weren't the prom queens and queens, you know, they weren't that, you know, all dressed up in Gucci's, and they weren't that. What they got to do now,
right,
to compete with them if they doing this,
right?
So we go another level in our ladies, our women having, because of, again, those crack years and us losing that part of us, you know, and us not remembering, we don't want to remember that that's what happened. And those men lost their morality. And here's something else. I'm going to talk about something terrible. I want you to ask about this, because you heard about some men having to do that too. That they lost their morality for the drugs. You hear about the men with their mouths for the drugs.
There's a lot going on.
Here's the part we don't want to talk about. Remember, I just said the most beautiful of girls, right? Who was the dudes having the crack dudes do it too? See, we don't want to talk about that because now we're talking about the thuggish, ruggish of the bone dude, Mr. Tough guy, crack dealer guy. Well, he wasn't sucking mine.
Right.
So whose was he sucking? Whose was he doing these tricks for, if not them? And we ain't addressing none of this because we don't want to go deep into this conversation. And you know how bad it is? A lot of people might look at us as two brothers talking about it. If you were light-skinned, Mexican, Chinese, same thing in that community.
Right.
The same thing.
Right.
Was happening.
It was definitely a lot going on. And the right word is the morale was. The morality is just gone.
Yeah.
Because of the love of the drug, the crack years. But it definitely destroyed. It was like basically like Hurricane Katrina of the 80s. Just washed that community away, basically. You had, for those that wasn't on it, the effects of someone dealing with somebody that was on it was hell.
That too.
In itself. So, I mean, everybody suffered.
I don't think it was a person that wasn't affected because it was such a long period. And I say at least 20 years, the 80s to 96, almost 2000, you know,
Yeah.
it kept going. Not to mention the ripples that were in that water too,
Right.
you know, so we looking at a whole lot of trauma that nobody that I'm up in here in my trauma school going to therapy and stuff, but who went to therapy, and I'm talking about we haven't even started to get into the why you need to go to therapy parts a lot. We ain't even got in there yet.
I mean, that's definitely going to have to be something that has to be addressed. Therapy and basically with Black people in general, the whole idea of being, having a therapist.
Right.
But yes, this will be something that will have to be discussed in therapy as well.
Man.
We got to get people to the doctors for health reasons. We got to get people to and a therapist is a doctor. I mean,
Yeah.
So we just get an F in that category a lot because we don't even, as far as health wise, want to go see the doctor. And so this is your doctor for your mind.
And that in itself is messing with the preacher's money, ain't it? Or the preacher's job.
Well,
in our community. And I say that to be sarcastically funny. And here's why I say it. To be sarcastically funny. I don't get a problem with my car and say, let me take it to the preacher to pray on it. You feel me? It's not his job. He needs to be teaching me the Bible and the word of God, teaching me these laws, how to get into heaven. That's his job. Now, as far as specifics and details on stuff like I'm having a problem with rape, incest, murder, death, killed in the family, lost wife or something, that's for therapy. That's what they go to school for. And we dropped the ball on that trying to go to liquor stores and churches. I don't think we took those people's jobs serious as we took the things we saw on TV. And I'm going to say this, I say it on TV. We love to do what rich people are doing, right? Except for go to therapy. Because, every time you see a show and they got some money, they go to therapy. We didn't do that part.
Well, we definitely missed parts on stuff a lot.
We did not join. We did not join in that one. We'll partake in everything else, but we don't want to partake in that part where we got to go in here and talk to somebody about the stuff that happened in our lives.
And I don't think preachers should necessarily know all of that business about you. That is, I mean, I may get a little hate mail on that, but I don't think you should be going in there telling the preacher all that trauma. I just don't.
Well, first off, his ass ain't no therapist. He needs to learn how to read. First off, I'm not finna go into my get on preachers' asses tonight, but it ain't his job. It's like,
right. I mean, and then you got 200 or 300 members. I mean, how much of that can you really hear anyway?
Man, say that 16 more times because I don't think they heard you in the front. Because, bruh, who's the most important person to the preacher?
The tithers.
The tither with the biggest 10.
Right.
So they got a jet so they can fly to make sure they go see them way in Colorado if they need to. Because you know what I'm saying? That's that 10% of gangs of money. And we collecting our money. We'll fly to go get it. I ain't saying they doing it, but they doing it. Allegedly, I'm saying they doing it. But again, my point is this. We can't get off to the subject, crack ears. Yeah, forget preachers not doing their job. That ain't important right now. This right here, Having this discussion is not so much like what happened to the community. No, it's what happened to the world, because what people don't know, and you and I do know these things. There's a whole nother group of people outside back when we met in the early 90s, late in the middle 90s, was it middle late 90s, 98 what?
98.
So that's, yeah, we was finna getting ready to go into 2000, and everybody had kind of been, I'm gonna say, smoking weed strong for about 8 years. Like class of 91, the chronic started for me then, pretty much. It wasn't nothing before that. Not for me. Had a couple friends that said they were smoking in high school. So I think that's when our marijuana year started. Mm-hmm. But now you're taking a group of kids, they coming out of high school, they smoking weed. Guess what? Those are we should be called the crack babies, to be honest, because we were like, when the crack hit, we were babies. And we were not aware of why the fights were happening. We weren't aware of it. We didn't know what the fight was about.
You got to realize we are men of a certain age. I think we are definitely representing the crackheads, some of the crackheads that's out there.
Yeah.
Don't think we not.
That's what I'm saying, though.
If you did a case study on that, we got a strong group in there, I guarantee you.
That's what I'm saying. And we don't talk about it.
But
why don't we? It's that painful, because you got to talk about everything if you talk about some of it.
I mean, but okay, again, we kind of talk off air.
Yeah.
We got okay, so the crack years, what is our mission? What are we trying to do? We're trying to get people to talk about it, right?
Well,
the trauma that it brought. That is because that is where the healing is the talking about it, right?
That is the healing. And a lot of people are going to disagree and say, you ain't got to talk about it. You ain't got to talk about it. Look here. We talking about something that we forgot.
Families, see, you digging into something. That's why I told you off camera, this is something that is, and I asked you, was you sure you wanted to do it? And you said yes.
I'm Project Humanity.
Well, and beyond that, God told you to.
And God said, you better.
So it's definitely something you digging deep into because the trauma of it all,
bruh,
and the fact that Black people do not talk about any issues.
None. Zero.
None. And you're trying to get them to address one of the top 3, probably. So
I think this might be, this goes, this is hurtful because it's not slavery. You feel me?
Right.
Like, we can talk slavery.
That was because we can blame.
Yeah, we can blame somebody.
Right. This is the mirror.
This is like 20 years ago, y'all. We were coming out of what are you doing, man, with the mirror? What you doing?
I'm just saying.
Oh yeah,
talk about this. You got to look in the mirror.
You got it right down. All right, but yeah, that is you messed me up because that is, we don't want to talk about that. I'm over here showing bald spots. I ain't coming here. That's why I said this is important. I ain't trying to look good on this because this is you ain't got to be happy on this one. Yeah, like I said, God was like, because Project Humanity, I'm trying, man, you know me a long time. Save the world, guy. And it's hilarious that you didn't know me that long. 26 years. Wow. 98. So we've been hanging. Well, we ain't been hanging the whole time because life is. But to know me 26 years, you done seen the changes and the differences in who I have grown to become.
Right.
So finding this to me is like God gave me the keys. Now this one right here is going to be tough. Nobody wants to do this. However, this is what I did. I do the stuff nobody want to do.
Okay.
Project HueManity. Nobody wants to get everybody together and we work like one big old happy family of God's children. Everybody want to have their little groups. They got the men's groups,
So
the women's groups, they got the LGBT groups.
So what is the what? So I'm willing to help. What is the mission? What I mean, tell me. What do you have you thought about that part yet, or you just wanted to start having the conversation at this point?
Yes, we have to get started. So I'm going to hit the streets with the cameras and talk to some people.
Some crackheads.
That
Talk to some families.
I want to go in so many different directions. However, one of the ways is people who used to be on drugs and they not on drugs no more. And that's a part of their life where you really don't even discuss that no more, you know?
But you need to, somebody needs to see that person.
Somebody need to see that person. And here's the thing. And I know
they're out there.
It's going to be worse and worse as this goes on because this is the expectation. I expect easy at first. Like, yeah, we did some drugs and we wrecked some cars. You feel me? Now, do I expect the mother to come in here and say, I used to drop my daughter off at the crack house? Not in here. I don't. We all know that happened though. So that's not an expectation I have. Not here. Surprising if that did.
Well, I think, but I think with going out and gaining the trust of the people, like going out on the street, you might get that. You might get
it's a
that interview on the streets.
It's a possibility.
In a comfortable setting for the people. I don't know.
I just think it's something that we haven't really discussed. Everybody keep talking. Why ain't we at grandmama's house no more? Why ain't men like men no more? Why ain't the women doing this no more? Everybody keep talking that. And so Project HueManity, I'm trying to figure out how can we get these folks to work together? How can we get them to quit hating each other, love one another a little bit better?
Speaking on the family.
Huh?
Speaking on the family.
Speaking on the family what?
These people mean
and no, everybody. Yeah, everybody like
the big family, the big picture.
Humanity.
The humanity.
Yeah, working on humanity is what I do. So all these things I'm looking at, and this one was forgotten for me too. It was like when God gave it to me, it's like, what? Wait a minute, you mean to tell me? And so for a second, I had to think. Let me run it on through. And so I started talking to my therapist about it. And he was like, when he started playing, like, man, you got something. That's when I knew this. Let me spend some time meditating on this. And as I did, I realized, let me run some tests. Let me talk to some people. And let me see if what I think is true. Man, do you know I have never had a conversation with nobody, they changed the subject so fast? Never in the history of my talking to nobody. I'm talking about literally, I was talking to this dude outside, asked about the crack years. He straight went to the store talking about fishing. And I actually was talking to somebody today. I changed the conversation because I saw they were not going to have that conversation. Because, I asked them, I'm doing this docu-series about the crack years. Did you have any family members, went through some stuff? And they'd be like, yeah, I had a lot of family members in that. And then it'd be like, as soon as that statement came, and I'll be like, so, I'm trying to, discuss how that affected us and how that broke up grandmama's house and this, that, and the other. And they'll be like, yeah, man, so and so. And then, within seconds, we'll be at Bass Pro Shop or something, buying fishing gear. And he telling me about how many fish. I'm talking about this happened so many times.
You gotta, like I say again, I asked you offline, do you, I'm up for a challenge. I'm sure I am. But it's somebody's mom. It's somebody's dad. It's somebody's grandmother. to somebody's granddad that's going to be the person. And so
Yeah. And that's
that's serious.
and that's I think that's why it was.
For us, it wasn't that.
Right.
But for somebody else, it was.
It is.
And so.
And I think that's why this is not this ain't a likes and shares deal for me. This is probably the hardest thing God has ever asked me to do. And it's like, you ever been looking for something for a long time, and then you get excited you found it, and then you realize what you found is not what you wanted. You found Pandora's box, and you got the keys to open that sucker. So what you gonna do? Well, God said open the box, because guess what? The only way for y'all to heal is you got to deal. And I'm just here to start the conversation. I'm not going to be nowhere near the person that finishes it. I go to damn therapy. I have a therapist. I'm saying this made me realize the importance of getting everybody into therapy. Mm-hmm. You feel me? You know those plans I showed you that ain't nobody read, that you probably ain't read yet either? Yeah, in that plan has a section for this. Funny enough, God gave me those plans for this moment. Mm-hmm. That's what's crazy to me is like I spent the past couple of years, 3 years, 3 years, past 3 years trying to get people to understand that these plans will help. And I guess everybody was like, they won't help. Nothing we going through right now. And now that I look at them from this standpoint of this, mm-hmm. It's like, damn it, this is how we get through that. That's how we get through it. That's how we get through it. That's how we get through this.
Absolutely. It's it's definitely a topic that and something that we need to provide some information for next podcast. We need to have some numbers, because I feel like that'll solidify even more what we're trying to do, like getting some numbers, some therapy, somebody they can contact.
Yeah.
Put some numbers out there, because, yeah, you're right. It starts here, but it has to, it has to be some information out there for people.
I'll definitely, like, we're going to record this show. We're not going to do live on this probably ever. But we're going to record this show, so I'll probably add some names and numbers to the end. Yeah. For closing it out.
And we need to partner up with someone, a therapist or two or something.
I got one on Saturday. I told you to be here Saturday.
Yeah, so I'm saying,
you need to watch the show.
Yeah, I do. But it'll be good, because it gives them an opportunity to ask some questions. And not everything has to have a cost, just being able to ask something that might be in a dire question that they've been wanting to know an answer to for.
This is that moment when you be like, people don't, like your own boy ain't watch the show and don't know that you offer free therapy on Saturdays up here. I'm like, dude, like,
I mean,
I'm gonna we're gonna have a long talk, but I'm gonna just tell you the real talk. Lamar ALB called me, and I was like, no, I called you, didn't it? I was like, you coming back? Either way, right. However, to find out he was right around here and he was willing to come to the show. Yeah, I'm like, stop what you're doing. Let me change these cameras around, get him in here, because I'm like, we got if I can figure out how to make this work. Sometimes I need a translator. Lamar's can translate. Am I on the wrong side? Lamar's can translate. Am I looking at you on the wrong side? Do I need to move these? Did I miss that? But again, you can translate for me.
And I'll
because.
And yes, I do need to watch the show and support. I hadn't.
It don't hurt.
I didn't know that you were offering
free therapy.
Yeah.
I care.
People use that. I mean,
I care.
Let's grow all the way up, basically.
That one right there.
Let's grow all the way up, because we need to.
That one right there. We should do it for the children, man.
Yeah, be a better person all the way around the board.
You know,
You can help. You can help somebody.
and that's for me. The reason I'm doing this is because I got help. And I saw how it changed the way I see things, how I think, how I view life, how I reevaluated my whole life. And trust me when I say, and you know this too, fall down all the time. Get right back up and tell you about it. And guess what? Try again. Guess what? I'm still here for a reason. So I need to pay attention to something next time.
Right.
You know, it's not a giving up. It's this time, pay attention to this, and this. So it's like working on it
Right.
every day. So for me, we got to stay on the subject, man. I told you, this is an easy subject to get off of. Nobody wants to discuss it. We have to deal with this one, and I know you asked me what's the goal, what's the big picture here. I don't know what God doing right now, dude. Honestly, scaring me to good gracious, because it's like, has you ever had that feeling like I finally found what I was looking for, and you're excited, and then you start driving and riding home. And then you still excited and you tell somebody and they like, that is a big deal. And ain't nobody you talk to said it wasn't a big deal. They either change the subject or they talk to you about it. And that's another spooky part is no haters on this one. Nobody hating on this one. So it was like this morning it hit me and it was like, you know what you finna do, right? Or was it? It was one of these days. It was like a can of worms. I think it was the eclipse day, and it was like you open up a can of worms. And so I googled that to see what does that actually mean. Because I said it's like you opening up something bad, but then you open up some worms, you're catching fish. So googled it, and it said you opening up something that's extremely serious, and it has so many different things that are gonna come with it. So many more worms in this can that are going to be attached. And so when I read that, I was like, wow. And then, you know, you get that moment of memory where you kind of like, I'm just seeing all this stuff flash that you just forgot, you know. And then it was like, damn, you know this. You remember that, heard that story. And then to think about the ones you didn't hear, didn't see. And this is not just one group of people, this is all us. Yeah, it's a scary one. But then God was like, look, how y'all gonna ever figure out where grandma and them went? How you gonna ever figure out what happened to the family? How you gonna figure out why y'all can't be in relationships no more? Why y'all can't figure out what's a man role? What's a woman role? Y'all can't figure none of this out? Well, shit, it's because of the crack years. That's why. Y'all forgot. Y'all forgot the crack years. See, we lost trust. We lost mom and them. We lost dad and them. We lost uncles, brothers. You remember, you always hear the stories from these young ladies about the touchy uncles. You always hear it. And you always be thinking, that shit way back. No, that was in the 80s, the 90s. It wasn't way back. We sitting up here like that was in the 60s and the 50s and the shit. No. That shit was in the 80s and the 90s.
Well, more importantly, that's their trauma that they still dealing with.
And they, like most of the world, have seen zero counselors. They went to church and liquor stores. Here's something else I'm gonna help them out with. Let me tell y'all what happened to the men and women relationship. For 10,000 damn years, we was watching football in the living room by ourselves, and y'all was in the kitchen hiding wine. That's what happened to it. Now, you might not like this, but this is some truth. That's what happened. Is the crack years were coming. Grandmama and granddaddy had changed how they were doing things.
Mhm.